What's going on, y'all? How's everybody been doing? So I know it's been a little minute, but we're going to talk about when you come to Southeastern, where will you start as a new line haul driver? Now, since I'm speaking on the company, let me just go ahead and say I'm not a spokesperson for the company. I'm just a driver stating my own views and opinion. Before we touch today's topic, let me answer a few questions that I received. So I know one of y'all had asked me about what happens when you're not covering a run, meaning a vacation driver. So as I've said in one of my videos, when you're vacation and you're not covering, you're going to run what's called a 2.5, where you'll either fast turn Monday or you'll fast turn Friday, and you'll lay down twice a week. I know one of y'all had also asked about, can you get a scheduled run? You can. It takes time. And the last question is, can you come in as an extra board driver? So let me just go ahead and just say, we're a little different from Estes and AVF. So with the system, it's actually a run that you bid on. So, each bid, you have the opportunity to bid if you want to be system, which, some of y'all call extra board. Typically, most terminals, you're only going to have one system driver. Like at my terminal, I'm the only one classified as a system driver. So it's not like ABF or Estes where they might have, 30, 40, 50 extra boards. That's not how that works here. So let's talk about the different runs. So I'm sure you saw in the thumbnail the different numbers. I'm sure you're wondering, what do those numbers mean? So for starters, the 100 series, those are your scheduled fast turns. If you're a 150 or a 151, that means you're a wild fast turn. Your 200s, those are going to be your team scheduleds. I know I didn't add this one, but you have your 290s. Those are going to be your wild teams. You have your 300 series. Those are going to be your scheduled 3-2 runs. Now, with all our scheduled 3-2s, you're going to have an A side and you're going to have a B side. So you're going to have somebody, that runs opposite of you. So you might have 300 with 301, 302 with 303, and so on and so forth. Next, you have, your 400s. Those are your 3-2 wilds. And again, you're going to have somebody who runs opposite. So you're going to have, for example, Orlando 400, Orlando 401, so on and so forth. Your next ones are going to be, your 450s. The 450s can go from anywhere from 450 to, I think the highest is like 457. So you might have, West Atlanta 450 all the way to Watt, 453 and so on. The next type of runs you're going to have are your 500 series. Those are going to be your scheduled 2.5 runs, and it can go from 500 all the way up to whatever it goes up to. You have 501, 502, so on and so forth. Your 600s, that doesn't matter, that's your outside carriers. 7s and 800s, so those are your P&D combo drivers. You have your 900s. Now the 900s, that's what I do. That's system, and even with that, there's an A side and a B side. The B side, which is what I am, is Monday through Friday. The 900s are Sunday through Thursday. And then, of course, your last type is your 001s all the way to maybe 007. Those are going to be your vacation replacement drivers. So as far as where you're going to start when you come in, really, it's just going to depend on the terminal you go to, because every terminal is not going to have these different types of runs. Some terminals are going to have 3-2 wilds, some might not. For example, when I started in West Atlanta, over there, when you first get hired on, you're going to start off as a vacation driver. The lowest is 007, and you work your way up. Every terminal is not going to have 7 vacations. Some have 7, some have 4, some have 5, some even have just 1. It's just going to depend on the size of the terminal and the type of runs that they need. For example, there's going to be some terminals, that may not have, laydown runs at all. Any, like for example, Miami and Dothan, I know for a fact they don't have any type of laydown runs whatsoever. All of their runs are fast turns. So I'm not going to drag this out. So to give you an idea of where you're going to start, you're either going to start off as a vacation relief driver, you might start off as a 3-2 wild driver, or you might start off, as a system driver, where you stay out 5 days and, that sort of thing. Now, assuming, you move up, that doesn't mean that you have to stay as a vacation. Because like I said, all of these runs, they're up for grabs on the bid sheet. So if a driver that's been here for 20 years decides they want to go to vacation, they can. It's unlikely that they'll do that. But I mean, just like even with my position, when I transferred, of course, I lost my seniority. So I'm at the bottom in linehaul seniority in Orlando. Now, just because the system is where the new drivers at the terminal start, that doesn't mean that I can't get bumped off of that, because somebody could decide like, hey, I want to run the system. They can bump me off of that. Now, the way it works, at a terminal I run out of, typically, the bottom guy is going to run the system. Then you might move up to a 3-2 wild, and then you work your way up to vacation and so on, And like I said, some terminals you start off as vacation. Other terminals you have to work your way up to vacation. Now, if you ask me, it seems a little backwards, because vacation drivers are the only drivers that don't get assigned trucks. Everybody else has an assigned truck but them. So could you imagine working here for years and years, and you finally get a vacation only to find out that you lose the truck? And I know one of y'all had also asked about the truck assignment. So the trucks are assigned to the line haul driver. It's not like Old Dominion where each bid you lose the truck. The trucks are not assigned to the run. The truck stays. The only time you lose the truck is if you're vacation or you have a bid run where it requires a tandem. Like there's a few runs within the company where they pull strictly vans. For example, there's a Jacksonville to Richmond. That run, they only pull 53s, and some of the meets where we meet, like other LTLs, like we interline with Dayton and A. Dewey Pile, like those guys, for example, they pull tandems for the most part. But again, I'm coming up to the 8-minute mark, so overall point of this video is it's just going to depend on the terminal, the type of runs that they have, and that's going to determine where you're going to start at. But if you're coming here in hopes of getting a scheduled 2.5 or a scheduled fast turn, it's highly unlikely, especially on the laydown side. You might get lucky and get a fast turn, but again, it's unlikely. I'm just keeping honest with you. And I forgot to mention as well, there is a possibility you might start off on the team truck. I know for West Atlanta, for example, there are times where new drivers will, end up on that wild team truck or the vacation replacement team truck. But all right, that's the video today. So hopefully y'all enjoy. Hopefully you have a better understanding of how it works. So as I always tell y'all, thank you to all my day one subscribers. Thank you to all my new subscribers. I appreciate all of y'all. And as I always tell y'all, y'all take it easy and y'all stay safe.